What's up, everyone? It is Andrew here from AppleInsider. You guys are about to see the first ever episode of HomeKit Insider that we recorded on video, and we're going to take them here each week on the AppleInsider YouTube channel. And I for sure want to know what you guys think, so let me know over on Twitter at Andrew_OSU if you like having the video versions of these podcasts as well as the audio versions that are edited up on Apple Podcasts. But specifically, before we get into this episode 2, I want to assure you that next week we're going to have even better video quality. I had some issues with my capture software here on our first episode, and just, perfect luck. First episode, and we have issues with capture quality, or our capture software, that really detrimented my video quality. And while we could have scrubbed this for the week and went next week instead, I thought it was a fun episode, so I wanted to show it to you guys anyway. So here it is, first episode of HomeKit Insider, recorded on video, even with a slightly subpar video quality on my side. But it'll all be cleared up next week, and we'll see you guys then. Otherwise, enjoy HomeKit Insider. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Cheeky Seats, the podcast where we waste 30 minutes of your time telling mildly British jokes about chairs. I'm here with my this is HomeKit Insider. Wrong podcast. Different day. We'll start that over. Welcome, everybody, to HomeKit Insider. You've got me, Andrew O'Hara, here on video for the first time doing our podcast, along with my partner in crime and the biggest fan of Ritz crackers this side of the Ohio River, Stephen Robles. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. That's not inaccurate. I mean, when I was a kid, I put some cream cheese and jelly on a Ritz cracker. That'll change your life. I'm just saying. I don't know if you guys do that.
I just looked at my desk. I just have a box.
Hey, there you go. Yeah, exactly.
Things. Yeah.
You see, you're like making a speech over there because you got no like wires or headphones. You got your AirPods in. Mic is away. Like you look like you're ready to orate, an orator. So
I don't know. I guess it's what I do on video almost every day. So
yeah. So if you're listening to the podcast, there is a video version now. It's on YouTube. You should go check it out. We won't spend a lot of time talking about visual things because then you listening in audio are not going to get what we're saying. But I do want to comment. You have some characters behind you. I don't know if those are figurines or something on a shelf.
Characters everywhere. Okay.
What are those?
Okay. They're a little lopsided because of when we moved, and I haven't gotten in and fixed them. But this was a whole thing. I got 2 of them. So I am a huge Simpsons fan. Right? I've got artwork over there. And Simpsons partnered with Lego to do like this limited run of like minifigures, and they came in these little blind bags. So my wife and I, we created like a spreadsheet in numbers on our phone with a picture of the character and a little checkbox, and we go in the Lego store and we felt each bag trying to decipher what figure it was. We only missed a couple on the first round, so we did pretty darn good. But then we brought them back and we put them into, we made like this shadow box.
Yes.
Like we like painted it and all that stuff and made a little shelf for all of the Simpsons minifigures.
That's like a museum exhibit with the thing. Now, so my one question for your shadow box there, one seems to have fallen. Yeah. So is that like a ship in a bottle, or can you actually get in there and stand them back up?
The back does come off like a normal picture frame. Gotcha. Like I said, like we moved and I was trying to be super careful, but one did fall because I actually have 2 and the other one is in higher disarray. So this is, I don't know if this is like the first or second series, right? Yeah, but it's in more disarray, and like you can see the dusty back of this. Like there's just like prongs. Just take it apart.
Yeah.
Just like a picture, but it was like a paint. Like it is very tight in there, so like I don't want to deal with it. It's like one of those things. Sure, you gotta fix at some point, but.
I get it. Well, listeners,
it was going to be featured on camera, so I didn't have it ready.
Right, it's all right. Listeners, you should jump over to YouTube just to see Andrew's Simpsons diorama, or whatever you call that, but that's pretty funny. Okay, well, we should actually talk about some HomeKit stuff. This is HomeKit Insider. Talk about smart home HomeKit things.
Wait, not the chair show?
This is not the chair show. I'm sorry to disappoint. I'm not sure what other show you do about chairs.
I was all prepped with chair jokes.
I think that one's with William. Minutes. You must do that show with William, because that's a British thing.
Because they were mildly British
just saying
jokes. I was going to say mildly funny, and then as I'm saying it, I said mildly British.
Mildly British. It's a Freudian slip. That is accurate.
Well, Cheeky Seats does sound British. So.
And then you have Peaky Blinders. Cheeky. Anyway. Okay, I'm probably going to offend somebody.
With a chair joke, and you didn't even ask me to share one.
Well, do you have a chair joke?
Well, did you hear about when the first guy invented the chair?
No, what happened?
Oh my God, he was so excited. He like brought all of his friends and family around, and they're like, "What's going on? What's going on?" And he's like, "Okay, sit down for this."
Mm. On to the news. All right. No, I'll give you that one. I'll give you that one. That's all right. Okay.
Success.
So to the news. First, we have like basically one piece of news this week. I think it was a slower news week for all things tech. On the Apple side, we have some like policy stuff, but there was actually a big announcement from Aqara, and this is exciting because we've had so many listeners write in, tweet, asking about wall switches for the EU, and especially ones that don't require neutral and neutral. And so Aqara had a big announcement where they announced its big first wall switch for Europe. And these are brand new, the wall switches. They have Zigbee 3.0. And I don't know, we're not in Europe, so I don't know what this means. But for those of you over there, it supports the square wall boxes and the round European wall boxes. I guess you guys have like different shaped wall boxes sometimes. So they actually have versions for both of those, single and double rocker, switches that also can require a neutral or not require a neutral. So it would seem like, I could be wrong, but this might solve a lot of the wall switch questions that we've had come in. So, and Aqara says they're metal,
So many
brand new.
questions.
Yeah, all new. So they look amazing, and I do not see. Again, I don't know if we'll be able to see them for sale here in America, but they're on the Aqara website. We'll put a link to that. I don't see a buy now just yet. Did you have info on like the buying part?
No, and Aqara is like, I mean, well, with like a wall switch or anything electrical like that, I feel like it takes even more specialization like per country. But I don't have anything beyond. I haven't gotten an email from Aqara on it, and I actually have like a second like Aqara piece here that I was going to talk about. And yeah, I haven't even gotten anything official on the release or anything. Someone just shared it with us on Twitter is where I first saw it. So
Yeah,
nothing
well,
beyond that.
they look really cool. Aqara is saying there's like a metal frame. So if you've gotten Aqara switches in the past, which I had a few, they were plastic frames and things like that. So Aqara is saying these are a premium build, metal frame, and it has like a bunch of new features for the Aqara stuff. So again, I think just as a new option for those of you in Europe, they keep saying Europe. I don't know if that also means the UK. I feel like maybe, I don't know.
I saw EU, which now is no longer
Yeah.
super specific. And I know that was the problem before because there was stuff available in the EU, but not in Britain.
Exactly. So, listeners over there in the UK, let us know. Look at these and say, is this exciting? Is this what you have been waiting for? Or is this not going to work for you? But those of you in Europe, this seems like the deal. Again, it doesn't look like you could buy them yet. Availability is not there yet, but we'll let you know when they are. But they look cool, and they look pretty premium, modern. Yeah, pretty sweet. So there you go. Aqara
As far as a
switches.
wall switch goes.
Yeah, as far as the wall switch goes. So one other what do you got over there? You gonna talk about something?
I got this thing. This showed up in the mail. Again, no official things from Aqara yet, but this just showed up. So am I allowed to talk about this? I don't know. But
That's good. Yeah, just talk about it. We'll see what happens.
Googled it, and it was like on their website, I believe. So I guess it's a thing. I don't know if it's available in the US yet. So maybe we're waiting on a US date for shipping. But it's the Aqara TVOC air quality monitor right there. And I just opened it up like while we were waiting to record. And I mean, it's a pretty simple looking device, but I mean, it's got the Aqara aesthetic going on. It just got this white frame, like an e-ink display on the front, and you've got your air quality there on the top, as well as the temperature and humidity levels. But it's on a nice little screen, so you got it going here as well as into your HomeKit stuff. So it seems like a solid little device, and I like this. It came with both an adhesive, so you can stick it to your wall, and a magnet, so you could stick it to a fridge a fireman's pole, whatever it is that you have going on, you can stick it to. So
Yeah,
I
that.
like that. Yes.
Very cool. Well, that's fun. So let me ask you this: with air quality, what is surfaced in the Home app as far as air quality, and what can you do with it?
Usually I believe it's just like the 1 to 5 rating. So like on this guy, they have like those leaves that you probably, if you're watching the video, you can maybe see it.
Right.
But there's just like the leaves, and it's similar with the Eve and oh gosh, a few of the other ones that I've tried out. They don't give you like a number or anything. They just give you like a poor, okay, good, better, best or something like that, like a 1 to 5 rating on how good your air quality is. But then
Gotcha.
you can use that as a trigger for anything else. So if your air quality drops below excellent,
Mm,
turn on a ceiling fan. If your air quality drops below good, turn on your whatever that thing is, the air purifier,
right.
stuff like that. So
Okay.
those are ways that you can automate, the stuff in your house based on air quality. But you have to choose like excellent, good, fair, okay, poor, whatever the actual values are in HomeKit.
Gotcha. Okay. Pretty cool. So you also put in here Ecobee update. Ecobee is a smart thermostat. I've had an Ecobee for forever. So what's this update about?
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about this one. This was a cool little update that came out to their thermostat, especially if you're using, well, only if you're using their contact sensors for the doors and stuff like that. But they have a new update for Haven subscribers where if your door is open for more than 5 minutes, it's going to turn off your AC or your heat,
Oh, that's
which is
right.
amazing. Like that's huge because that's always been a thing for us. Like, oh, we have like our doors open and then we have to go and manually or via Siri turn off the AC or heat just because we want that
Right.
fresh air. I mean, the weather is so nice right now. We always want to do that, but it's just a little bit weird when you
Gotcha.
have to kind of manually do that. I mean, I guess that's just the way you normally would do things. So I think that's great. And their door and window sensors or their contact sensors were already pretty cool because they also acted as those motion sensors for the Ecobee. So they were being used as part of like their smart security system and what room you were in the house. So they had all those other advantages as well. And now they've tied all those things together. It makes perfect sense now that they have those contact sensors and control your thermostat. So free update came, but you have to be that Haven subscriber to use it, which
Gotcha.
is like the security and all that other stuff too.
Gotcha. Well, that's pretty cool. Now, when is like the latest Ecobee thermostat that has come out? Because like the model I got is probably 5 or 6 years old. And I mean, a thermostat, you set the temperature, so it doesn't need to have like a ton of those features. But is there like a recent Ecobee or like what is kind of the newest HomeKit thermostats out there that, I don't know, someone might consider?
I think it's called like the Ecobee Smart Thermostat with voice control is
That's
their
right.
most recent one. I'd say it came out maybe 2 years ago or something like that.
Okay.
Had some decent upgrades to it. It will be this fall, the first thermostat, I believe, to support Siri integration. They
Oh,
did
that's right.
announce
That's
that. We
right.
talked about that in a previous episode. So that one right now, it supports Amazon's assistant and it will support Siri later this year.
Right.
Um, but yeah, so it'll have your voice assistant in there, and then it also worked with Haven, and it worked with the different sensors that they had and the smart camera, which, by the way, that went on sale for Prime Day at like $50 or something crazy. I can't remember, 60. I don't. It was some crazy deal. I'm like, this is a steal for like. I love that camera. It's got such a
Yeah,
nice
yeah, yeah.
design. Worked with HomeKit Secure Video, plus all the Ecobee benefits. Like that was like my favorite. Like I didn't get one because I already had one. I probably should have because I can now have unlimited HomeKit Secure Video cameras with
That's
iOS 15.
right.
I
So,
should have gotten one, but I didn't.
but is that available yet? The unlimited camera thing? Or
Yes,
you can do it
I
right
believe
now?
so. I mean, it's a little funky to tell, and I've got a lot of cameras, but I'm like 90% sure because originally my Ecobee wasn't turned on, so I had to like disable it on another camera. But after upgrading to iOS 15, I go back and look, and it looks like it is now set up with HSV. So pretty sure if you got the beta and you're on the appropriate iCloud plan, you can have unlimited HomeKit secure video cameras.
Yeah, yeah. Very cool. Yeah, I'm excited for that. I don't have the betas anymore. I downgraded my iPad to the release candidate for now. We'll see when I need to make another beta video or something. But it was a hair buggy. Like not bad. Not bad as betas go, but I was like, I edited all the podcasts on it. Like, I'm gonna go back to the release candidate, which is a pain in the neck. Like you could do it. You have to download the release candidate from Apple's developer website, restore from a backup from that operating system. You can't like restore from any backup you made while you were on the 15 beta. You have to go back to the last 14.6 backup. So it is a pain in the neck, but it is doable. And so I did it, as you do. But you're on all betas, right? You put the beta on everything.
Yeah, yeah. I don't usually put it on my daily drivers, especially with beta 1. But this year there was so much around focus and notifications and things like that and messages that there was no way I could get around putting it on a secondary device and being able to properly test things to work on video content. So I was kind of stuck
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
doing the betas on my daily drivers, which so far it's been pretty good. I've had more wonkiness going on with my iPhone, like random times like cellular service like doesn't work, and other
That's not good.
buggy shenanigans. Yeah, like I'm like, oh my gosh, this app is down. How horrific! And I'm like, well, I'm gonna go check out the news and go to AppleInsider, and like nothing is loading. I'm like, okay, cool. So let's restart that.
Yeah. Well,
Normal beta shenanigans.
how's that Apple Watch beta? Because usually Apple Watch can be rough.
It's fine. I haven't had any issues. Maybe slightly faster battery life, but I'm a pretty rugged user of the watch. Like
Right.
I use it a lot and doing a lot of workouts. I've been working outside a whole bunch recently. And I wear it around the clock because I sleep in it and everything too. So I'm a pretty I use the battery quite a bit. So it might be a little more rough on the battery, which I feel like is the biggest detriment to Apple Watches when you're trying to use it daily and the watch is dead.
Right.
But I mean, and maybe I can't even tell because I push it so much as is. But it seems fine. Some of the the new faces and stuff aren't there yet, which is a little bit of a bummer. But the new Home app is, which does look really cool.
That's right. Very cool. So Andrew, we're actually gonna take a break and thank a sponsor that we have for this episode. This is very exciting, Andrew. We got a sponsor this episode.
So exciting.
It is, and this wasn't really planned, but it's amazing timing because today's sponsor is actually Hunter Douglas, which we actually talked about not as a sponsor, but just because they had those amazing shades. You've had them installed in your house. But Hunter Douglas is the sponsor for today. And so, as you know, they do the smart shades, and maybe you haven't thought about shades, or I know when I still have dumb shades, but Andrew has the smart shades, so I will let him brag about the smart shades for a moment. But when you think about shades, like sometimes it can be a pain. Maybe they're hard to get to, or you just don't want to go around your house and open up all the shades. But when you actually have automated and you can automate your shades, it makes all the difference. And that's why Hunter Douglas makes those smart shades. They're unique shade designs. They can actually transform the sunlight, casting beautiful glow across the space. You can do the up and down, different things with the shades. They have advanced fabrics, and that gives you clear views to the outside of your home while providing daytime privacy inside. They're also energy efficient. They lead the industry, providing insulation against heat and cold year-round comfort, helping you save on utility bills. And of course, an assortment of elegant colors and fabrics that give a completed and finished look to any room decor. But the best part is their PowerView automated shade system, like I just mentioned. With the PowerView technology, you can program your shades to move automatically throughout the day based on what you want, from letting in light slowly as you awake, opening entirely for a sunny breakfast, adjusting to block the hot midday sun, or raising just in time for a perfect sunset. So Andrew literally has the Hunter Douglas shades that he had installed. So I don't know, tell us how much you love them, or maybe some automations you got going on with those shades.
I seriously do love these. I don't have any notes or script or anything to go off of right now. I just really like these shades. We always had the shades. We built our house, we put in shades, and I was terrible at opening and closing them every day. It's like such a simple task, but I just never did it. Or if I did, I would always forget it. And being able to have them automated and open and close 3 times a day has been amazing. I've been such a fan of natural lighting, 1 on the photography side, and 2 for just health reasons. I feel like when you're cooped up in the house all day, natural light is so beneficial. Apple has been talking about it by adding the adaptive lighting that gives you adjusting light based on time of day, and having natural light come in is, I think, just even more beneficial than having your lights change color based on the time of day. So we put in a few different sets of automated shades, and these PowerView ones from Hunter Douglas have been fantastic. I have them set up in the studio, and I can come in the morning and just say I tell Siri it's a work day, and she opens up the shades into the room, bringing all the nice, wonderful natural light, and then I can close them when we leave. If I leave the house in the middle of the day, I have them automatically close, so that way there's nothing no one looking into the studio or anything like that. And then when I come back in, they open back up. They've just been great. The natural light, the automation, plus they have these physical controls, which are super nice. These are called the Pebble controllers, and they light up when you pick it up. You can control the shades with this. You can group them all together and control multiple at the same time. We said it before, huge fan of physical controls. Hunter Douglas has multiple control options, scene controller, just regular shade controller. So, anyone who doesn't want to use Siri or a scene or automation, anything like that, can use these too. So I've just been a fan of these. We're looking at putting some more of these into the house already after we got these ones in.
No, that's awesome. So you listeners can visit hunterdouglas.com/HomeKit, and you get a free Style Get Smarter design guide with fresh takes, creative ideas. and smart solutions for dressing your windows. That's hunterdouglas.com/HomeKit, HunterDouglas, hunterdouglas.com/HomeKit for your free design guide. Our thanks to Hunter Douglas for sponsoring this episode. That's pretty fun. All right, well, as I have talked about before, I'm kind of in like a temporary-ish living situation right now. It is temporary. It's not ish. It is a temporary living situation as we're building a house. But I've been slowly increasing the amount of HomeKit devices in this house and have not been using HomeBridge, not doing any of that kind of like third-party stuff. I'm just doing direct HomeKit devices and the Home app. And so I wanted to start using some contact sensors again. And in this house, there's a door that goes out to the backyard, which my kids have been using to take the dog out. And I was like, you know what? I want to know if that door is left open, and I want to know when they open it and get notifications certain times of day and all that. So our friends at Eve, they make their contact sensor that now has Thread built in. And I was a little worried because that door is like between several walls away from any HomePods or Apple TVs. So I wasn't sure how the connectivity would be. But I got the Eve contact sensor. I put it on the door, and this door is like recessed from the trim, the molding or whatever. So the contact sensor couldn't be like completely parallel. So I did this like, I actually saw one of the security system contact sensors that are also in this house, and they're like in a perpendicular kind of setting. So rather than being like directly across from each other, I put like the main contact sensor like flat on the door, and then the big part kind of like perpendicular almost, but they're very, very close when the door is closed. And I find that it works flawlessly. Like even though they're not directly across from each other, they're more perpendicular. It has been totally solid, giving me notifications every time the door opens, the door closes. And I haven't set an automation yet, but I'm sure I could. And I was just wanting to see, how consistent is this? Is it connected all the time? And it has been great, honestly. And so I think I'm going to add a couple more. There's a couple other door sensors, and it's just been great. And so I just want to say my experience with contact sensors recently, now that I'm using those Eve ones with Thread, using it even in kind of far areas of the house, is pretty sweet, and it's working pretty solid. So I don't know, just wanted to share my experience with contact sensors. And if you were looking for one, I recommend that Eve one because it's been solid for me. So that's all.
Nice. Well, I mean, that's a perfect segue to like two separate things. I guess first, this will immediately make your setup feel inadequate. We got this shared with us on Twitter. Let me find a name. Well, Lennon. It says his name is Lennon.
Yeah.
There's no other words. But he created a solar-powered HomeKit connected fence door monitoring system.
So what now?
So he has an outdoor fence.
Okay.
I'll send you this link because we're obviously putting this in the show notes for everybody else to dig through.
Yes.
So you can look at this here. He's got some pictures and a whole like way that he built this. But yeah, he's using HomeBridge, and he created a solar panel to run a door sensor that's all connected to HomeKit, and he's using it for automations and stuff like that. I look at it, I'm like, wow, that's overkill. But it works, and you never have to switch batteries again. And he's got some really cool like photography, and just walks you through how they built everything. There's a lot of wiring. So I guarantee you not many people out there are going to try to do this. But if you're interested, check this out because it looks really cool. Wow. It's a neat little setup. Yeah, it's a whole thing.
That is fancy.
Really well done.
Let me ask you this. Aside from notifications letting you know a door is open or closed, and we're going to get to Christopher's question about a shortcut with like giving you a report of your doors that are open and closed. We will get back to that in a second. But do you have any automations that are based on contact sensors that, I don't know, besides just notifications?
I mean, there's a few different ones you can do. The basic stuff I would think would be turning on or off like outdoor lights, perhaps. I mean, if you have like a camera that's up high and you don't want to rely on it for, motion or something. So we have our outdoor floodlight, the Arlo Pro 3 floodlight cam. Right. I have a contact sensor set on my sliding door, and that's actually out in the yard. So what I have set up is like when you open the door, that floodlight will come on into the yard. So it gives you a little bit of ambient light up on our porch that's like situated behind where this camera is mounted. So
Gotcha.
if we open that door, it would never turn that light on. We also set it up to turn on some like string lights that we have outside. like,
Okay.
the normal filament bulb setup.
Yeah.
And yeah, so they just turn on, and then I have them set so they turn off after like 30 minutes or something like that. So that way they're not on too long. It does pose the issue if there's like people out there and, you want the lights on. They're already on, so they like shut off after a period of time. So you got stuff like that. But there's not many outdoor motion sensors. The only like outdoor motion sensor that I know, other than going through a camera, is the one for the Hue.
Right.
The Hue has like that outdoor sensor with bright, like the lux sensor, the light sensor, as well as maybe temperature. I don't know about that one, but at least a light sensor and motion. And you can use that for any of your lights too if you're going through the Hue route. But I would just say turning on lights on and off, because it works for like your porch lights or something too. Because when you could set up so when you arrive home, your lights turn on. But when you're leaving, maybe you want those lights to turn on too. So that way when you open the door, your porch lights automatically turn on for you.
Yeah.
So option.
Let me ask you this, now that you mentioned automating that stuff. Do you have any automations with, well, you say you don't have a garage door now, but when you did you run any automations like when I arrive, the garage door opens or anything like that? I've been afraid to do an automation with the garage door because I feel like that's such a large thing that if some automation misfires, like, and that door is left open for some reason or opens because it thought I was home or something like that. I haven't done anything like that, but did you ever do automations with a garage door?
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. They worked, for me, they worked fine.
Okay.
The one thing I think you could do is, like anything else, like you can get a notification when it opens or closes, right?
Yeah.
I think that's a thing you can do. So you could just turn on that notification. So that way you can leave it for, automatically running, but then you can also get a notification of open and close. So if you're away and it opens, then you're like, hey, something fishy is going on.
Right.
At least you know that, it was opened and you can check on it or check a camera or whatever it is that you have in the vicinity.
Right. Gotcha. All right, well, since we're talking about notifications and contact sensors, let's do the follow-up, because Christopher had asked us last week about getting a notification with basically a report of the status of his doors, whether they're open or closed, when he leaves home. And we kind of walked through it a little bit thinking that we got it, and we were actually pretty close. But I actually made this shortcut myself. It was a personal automation, and it works great. And so let me walk you through it real quick. I will put a link to the image of the shortcut in show notes. Sharing a shortcut like this, again, it doesn't work great because you have to use your home devices. And so I can't build a shortcut that controls your home devices and your home and all that. But it is a relatively simple shortcut, so I'll walk you through it real quick. And so this is building a shortcut that will give you a notification and the status of your doors or whatever other contact sensors you would like when you leave a location. So like when you leave home, if you want a notification that says, here are your doors that are open and closed in one like text block, this is how you do it. And so you would open the Shortcuts app. Don't start in the Home app. Start in the Shortcuts app. And from there, you go to the Automations tab at the bottom. And again, you do have to be in the house that you are using the devices in. So, if you're in your office, you can't make this automation in your office if you're wanting to program contact sensors at home. So be at home if that's where you're making the automation. So go to the Automation tab, hit the plus, create a personal automation, not a home automation, because you get some different options for this. So I did create a personal automation, and from there you can use the trigger of when I leave, and you can choose your home as the location. So that's what I've been doing. I've been testing this all week, and it's been working pretty consistently. So I did when I leave home, and that's when I'm going to start the shortcut. So when I leave, then you hit next. The first action you're going to program, and you can search for home in that little search box in shortcuts, but search for home control, and you're going to get the sensor status or get device status. And so depending on how many sensors you have, you'll need to add that many actions, because every one of these actions is going to stand for a specific sensor device. And so get sensor status, and let me make sure that's actually exactly what that's called. So create personal automation.
Sensor state.
When I leave home, sensor state, that's right. So hit next. You're going to search for home control as the first action and get the state of whatever home that you're wanting to create this automation for. So it says get accessory state. When you first add the action is get accessory state. And when you tap that, you'll see all your different home devices to choose from. So choose the one contact sensor. And I would say just choose one because we're going to customize this in a second. Choose the one contact sensor that you're wanting to get the status of, and it'll automatically default to name as the second little block there in the shortcut action. So what you want to do is tap that, and select contact sensor state. So it's going to be get door, whatever door or whatever contact sensor you have, whatever the device name is, get office door, and then change the next little text block to contact sensor state, because that's going to tell you whether it's open or closed. Now you're going to want to create an action for each device you want in the report. But let's just say, let's do one contact sensor to keep it simple. So I want to get my office door contact sensor state when this automation runs. So I have that as my first action. And again, you can look at the picture in show notes, and I'll put it as the chapter art as well, so you can visually get an idea of what I'm talking about. And then the next thing I'm going to add is actually a text block. So you can search for text, and you see that text block come up. And we're doing this because this is basically what the notification will say when it pops up on the phone. And so in this text block, what I did was I put the name of the contact sensor in, like I typed it in. So I actually typed in office door : and then you can select the variable, and you'll see there's like this horizontal scrolling list at the bottom. You can also click the magic wand and choose the variable above, how the shortcuts work. But I'm going to choose contact sensor state, and then my text looks like in that text block, office door : contact sensor state. And so what that's going to tell me is when this notification comes up, it's going to say office door, open or closed. So that's my text block. And then the last step in the shortcut is send a notification. So I'm going to hit the plus button one more time to add another action. You can search for show notification. That's an action step in shortcuts. And the show notification, I'm going to delete the hello world. Apparently that's there by default. But I'm going to select with the magic wand the text block from right above. So what I'm telling the shortcut to do is when this runs, send me a notification and use the text block that I programmed above as the text of this notification. And so once I've done that, you can hit next. It gives you a little confirmation. You hit done, and that's it. Now, when you leave that location and your phone's GPS notices that you've left, you'll get this notification pop up. And this is the one annoying part. Hopefully Apple changes this in a future update. But it will say, we see that you're leaving your home. Do you want to run this shortcut? And as far as I could see, there's not a way to skip this step. It's going to kind of prompt you to run the shortcut when you leave. And when you say, okay, run it, then it will give you that report, and it'll basically show you that text block with whatever you've programmed, office door, back door, patio door. And if you program each contact sensor state in that text block, it'll say open or closed. And we actually sent this to Christopher. He said he programmed it, and it was working for him too. Same thing, he had to kind of confirm every time the shortcut ran. But this is a way where every time you leave a location, you leave home, you leave your office, you can get a notification with a report of every contact sensor status in your home, and it can give you peace of mind that your doors are closed, or if you see that one's open, you could hopefully call somebody that's home, check on that door, or you can go back and see that it's, you have to close that door. So you can do it. You do it in the Shortcuts app. You set up the automation. And again, I'll put the image in show notes so you can kind of see how that shortcut is built. But there you go. You can do it. Voila.
Yeah. So let's see. So a couple things.
Yes.
What if instead of leaving location, what if you did disconnect from Wi-Fi to trigger the notification? So
you
that
could.
way, would you still have to confirm with that one to run?
That's a good question. I would have to test
the
that.
location, I think you have to have that confirmation. But when you leave Wi-Fi,
Okay.
I don't know if you have to confirm it. So that might be a workaround to get rid of that additional step.
Well, we will do a double follow-up where I will test that, and next week we'll let you know if that will work. But sometimes I do the connect to Wi-Fi, disconnect from Wi-Fi trigger, except if you ever, for any reason, turn Wi-Fi off on your device when you're at the location, that automation is going to run automatically. I don't think it will do it if your phone kicks over to cellular because you have bad Wi-Fi or whatever, but if you walk into your backyard or something. Yeah, because you're still connected. So that is a solid choice for a trigger. I know I've used that before, and then I don't know if you noticed any kind of battery life hit, but sometimes if you have a lot of location-based automations, I mean, your phone is kind of pinging your location. It's doing it anyway, but because frequent locations.
To say that, I don't think that doesn't change anything because your phone already tracks that, and that's not changing anything.
Yeah, I mean, because if you really have to lock down those location privacy settings if you don't want your phone doing that, because if you get those recommendations from like Siri or Maps when you get in your car or when you're doing whatever. That's because it's tracking your frequent locations. That's in like settings, privacy, location, system location, whatever. And so you would have to turn off a lot of toggles for it not to ping your location often. But yeah.
And I still pretty sure that it pings your location often, because I'm pretty sure that's how Apple like designed their like the location services, where it was already doing it on your phone. It was keeping track of that and any changes in location. And then it was, so instead of each app doing it individually and causing like a big headache, it was doing it in one spot and then sending it to any apps that needed it to reduce the hit on battery life. So even then, I don't think it's making a big difference in like battery life total. Maybe if you completely disabled location services, it would help you. But yeah, I don't think otherwise it's making a big difference.
Okay. Maybe I'll set up some more location-based automations, because I've always had this like hesitancy to feel like, oh, is this going to drain my battery?
I think it's just one of those things that people have always like, done before, and before Apple like many years ago did the location services stuff. I think it's similar with like the quitting apps. Like I know my wife still quits apps like out of habit. Like that's hurting your battery life more. And
I'm gonna sit up in my chair for this one.
Still do it.
Listen, if you're watching on YouTube, I'm looking you right in the eye. If you're listening, I'm looking you right in the ear. Listen here. Stop swiping up to quit your apps. You don't need to do it anymore. There was an old like Ars Technica article where they went into like way in depth to say you're actually hurting your battery life more than helping it if you have to swipe up. And I cannot tell you, listeners, viewers, watchers, whatever you are, how many times I tell people, and it's a little bit of an age demographic thing, but when I try to tell people of a certain age not to do it, they kind of like shrug it off and they're like, oh yeah, sure, okay. And then the next day I see them swiping it up. My father-in-law is one. He swipes up apps all the time, and then he like tells me as in like a bragging manner to say, he'll ask like, why is my battery dying so quickly? And it's like, well, because you have an iPhone 7 and this and that and this. And he's like, I swipe my apps up every time. I don't leave any apps open. And I'm like, I don't know what to tell you, man. I can't help you any more than I have. The show's over. So, I mean, I don't know. That gets me worked up. Sorry.
It's a thing. People do it. It's just like kind of like a habit thing that just people do. But yeah, and then you lose the advantage of apps that do run in the background, like if you kill their services or something like that. So I think it does like.
I used to do it, and I'll tell you, I used to do like iPhone 4 era. I think maybe I would do it too. But once I saw enough like articles around the internet and stuff saying like don't do that anymore, I stopped. I don't quit nothing. And
it makes your phone so much quicker because when you open an app, it's just reloading it from memory. And you've got your state there, so it can be a lot quicker in loading apps too. So,
you're preaching to the choir.
Whatever.
Andrew. Yeah.
Going off on a
Anyway. Sorry.
Back to our notification here. This is like similar to what I was talking about last week, and I think the part where I played around with this for a little while. I didn't go all the way through to get the notification because I was working on like a conditional if statement, but I was just going through and getting the contact sensor states and then doing an if statement, and then it would only report on your doors or windows that were open. So that way when it ran, you didn't have to have like a list. Like if you're like me, you have a lot of contact sensors and you don't need to have like a list of like 10 or 15 doors and windows, close, and like you have to like scroll through them all or something. Yeah. So if you go through, you can get in conditional, and then if they are open, then you can write them to the text file, go through to check the next one, write the text file if it's open, and then at the end show any that you had in your text file, and if nothing was written to the text file, just write all of your doors and windows are closed, and then you get your notification that way, and a little bit more simplified, and you have your entire summary there with what you need to see versus the information that you don't need to see. Like you don't need to see they're all closed, you just need to know if they're open. So there's a lot of playing around you can do to kind of customize this to how fancy you want to get. And I swore I pasted this into our notes and then I didn't see it, so I repasted it again. So unless I missed it somewhere else in here, but Robert Hafer.
I'm gonna go with Hafer. I'm gonna say Hafer. Robert Hafer.
Robert Hafer. He sent us this app, HomeBot for shortcuts. Yes. That he says it's a lot easier to create shortcuts with sensors. I opened it a few minutes before the show. Did not get anywhere, but it looks interesting. You still have to know enough about shortcuts to kind of be dangerous. Like you can't be like a super novice and then be like, oh, this is going to have a bunch of like pre-built shortcuts or anything for me, but it does give you like example shortcuts that you can see, like triggering multiple scenes at once. I feel like can be handy, or switching light bulbs to activate or deactivate all light bulbs in a room, getting your home status and then dumping it all into a JSON file, show sensor temperatures, set thermostats, change light bulb colors to have multiple rainbow colors, like all sorts of stuff like that. There's a shortcut template for changing your primary home.
That's cool.
All sorts of stuff like that. So it's like $2. If you want to play around with shortcuts more, it definitely could be an easy way to get started. I mean, $2, people. Like,
yeah.
If you're playing with shortcuts in the home app,
yeah, exactly.
It's $2.
Support developers. $2.
Do it.
That's like half of a coffee. half a coffee.
Yeah.
All right. Well, as we're in listener questions and you guys have been sending them in, we appreciate it. Keep them coming. This was an email from Dennis. He was asking, can a MyQ garage door opener be connected directly to HomeKit? In MyQ app, it shows my HomeKit home name, but don't see a way to add it to HomeKit. Now, I feel like, correct me if I'm wrong, but there's some MyQ garage door openers that are HomeKit compatible and some are not. Is that right?
For me, there was like 2 different devices. It was a year ago, 2 years ago now, so I don't have it currently set up, but there was like the 2 different parts. There was like the actual, like the infrared repeater that would send like the signal to my garage door and all of that. And then I had like the additional like HomeKit hub bridge shenanigan that would do the HomeKit part of it. And for me, the whole thing showed up in HomeKit once I got it configured. So it did show in the Home app. It showed in CarPlay, which was my favorite, because I'd back out of the driveway and it would show right there on my screen. Boom, turn it off, close my garage door.
Yeah.
And then when I came home, it would show again there, and I could just tap it to open the garage door or go the automation route. But yeah, you had options. It was straight up in the Home app. You could control with Siri, everything could do with any other HomeKit accessory.
Gotcha. Yeah,
and that extra hub was cheap too, like really cheap.
Yeah, so I'm looking right now. There's the MyQ Smart Garage Control. It's $40, and I'll put a link to this in show notes. And this might be what you need, Dennis. So you will find that it's the MyQ Smart Garage Control, and yeah, that will be there. So check that out. Let us know, Dennis.
And if he already has that, then there's just something not set up correctly.
Right.
And call them and they'll help you. Because I did have issues originally getting out my Wi-Fi, mainly because I was like extending it and there was like Wi-Fi problems and like it was a whole thing. They actually sent down, like a rep was passing through Columbus and he like stopped by and helped me work on things. It was a whole thing. They were
Did he have like a stick over his shoulder with like a handkerchief and some sandwiches like in it?
He was not a hobo. He did not get off the
train.
train.
I didn't say hobo. He's like Huckleberry Finn character. Never mind. Sorry.
Like no. Some transient
no.
rep that was
we're sorry, MyQ.
That was traveling by rail.
You should definitely sponsor the show, MyQ. Our apologies. Okay. One other listener, I think you answered this guy on Twitter, but Max, he was asking, is there a way to record HomeKit secure video only during specific times? For example, at night. I think you answered him, no, this is not something that you can currently do.
No, we talked about this before. Yeah. This was us whining in the past, is that we couldn't set this with the scene. Like you can only right now set these, as you come and go and stuff like that. And there's no further control over that. Like I'd love to be able to switch like the camera modes based on the time of day, because like during the day, maybe I want in like privacy mode when we're here, but at night I wanted to be able to record what's going on in the living room or anything like that. Cause I'm home, but if someone breaks in, I wanted to record. Like stuff like that. Yeah. So it's a really odd oversight, honestly, with HomeKit cameras. So you can manually do it, but there's not even a way to like manually do it. You have to like go in and change like a setting of when home record or something. Like
You can set it for when it detects like people, pets, or cars, right? Like that's the current designations, but yeah, not time of day. So
yeah,
gotcha.
So it's like location is the only option you have.
Right.
So like when you're away versus when you're home, what can you do?
Right. Gotcha. All right. Well, for our last listener feedback, this is from, what is his name? I don't know if they have his name. I think you put this in there. Someone sent you this picture because they set up the air cord. So this must have been from the last episode.
Okay. Ronald.
Erins. Well, we apologize.
Arens.
We apologize to everyone. We're so sorry. Okay. Ronald, he did.
Ronald. We apologize to Ronald.
Yes. He did the air cord thing on an old iPhone 10. He set it up in his cool dock, hooked that up to a Behringer USB audio interface so he could get his turntable to AirPlay speakers. I'm not sure if he says here if it was a HomePod or Sonos, but he got it.
Going to a Sonos setup.
Very cool. But the AirCord app did work. He didn't use the line buddy thing that we linked. He used a different thing that's that Behringer UFO 202 such and such. But he got it to work. He got the little dock going. So pretty cool. He also said he reached out to Kevin Kelly, who's the developer of AirCord, asked if he'd considered adding support for shortcuts because Ronald was thinking creating a shortcut that auto launches the app and switches to AirPlay, which would be amazing. Great idea trying to automate that. And he said that the developer, Kevin, loved the idea of shortcut support. So maybe in the future. But it's amazing. I think we've had, 4 or 5 people ask us in the last year about the turntable to AirPlay thing specifically. So maybe this is like a whole niche world. Like maybe we're making it happen. I don't know.
Apparently.
Yeah. But very cool, Ronald. Thank you for sending us that picture and letting us know it worked. That'll be the chapter art for the listener feedback. But I think that was it for listener feedback. Very cool. That is it. Well, let us know, listeners, what other questions, what projects you got going on. We would love to hear from you. You can tweet at Andrew and myself. Twitter handles are in the show notes. Don't forget to check out all the videos we have on the Apple Insider YouTube channel. Andrew actually had a recent video blow up that CarPlay. Everybody loves to hear about CarPlay on YouTube.
Dude, I don't know what it is.
I don't know. Is that maybe there's not
last year it was popular too.
Yeah, maybe it's just I don't know. Maybe there's not a lot of coverage on it or something, but it's awesome. People love it. So CarPlay, check out that video. AppleInsider. You can go to AppleInsider.com for sure. But YouTube is at youtube.com/AppleInsider. Go there. Also, don't forget you can give us a review on Apple Podcasts, 5-star rating with a review. We would appreciate that as well. So thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you next time.